Hey guys, welcome back to the booth. I'm your host, Sean Yu, joined by Josh Monks.
Hey guys.
We're here for Rags and Riches 4. Josh, you just played 6 exciting rounds of Popper action.
That I did.
Yeah.
I died in round 5, sadly.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I decided to play it out till the end. I had an affinity player on turn 3 play 4 Mer Enforcers versus me.
Yeah.
And I actually was going to win that game if I had a land drop, because I would have been able to double Chainer's Edict, untap Tendrils of Corruption 1.
Yeah.
But instead I just missed the next 3 land drops and died to 4/4s.
On mono black?
Mono black, yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I'm glad to have you on the booth, even though the tournament didn't go quite the way you wanted it to.
Yeah. Can't complain. This is the first Pauper tournament I've actually played in. I've casted the last 3, but I've never actually played in a Pauper tournament, so I've done way more commentary than actual play in this format.
Well, in any case, we got standings available for this, and we have a not quite clean cut to top 8, but we've got one person who unfortunately drew into 9th. May have been the right decision anyways. But here we have the top 8 bracket. Oops, sorry. And right now, we're going to look at the bottom right corner. This is John Barber on Tron versus Brad Foster on Mono Black Control.
Yep.
This is pretty sweet. What do you think of this matchup?
So I actually played this matchup in round 1. I played against Tron. My opponent did have, he was 8 minutes late, so he did get a game 1 loss, and then I beat him game 2 pretty quickly. But I think the matchup actually slightly favors Tron, just because both decks are very good at going long, but Tron has way more stuff to do. But it sounds like we got this first round of the top 8 ready to go, so we're going to go ahead and head down to the match now.
Yeah.
Let's see what these guys got. So it looks like John is going to be on the play as he's in 3rd place versus Brad Foster, who's in 6th place after that Swiss. Looking at these opening hands, it looks like Brad's got a lot of removal and an unearth, but I don't believe he's got a creature. It looks like he mulliganed as well and kept his Scry to the top. John's going to fire off, I believe that's a mine?
Yeah, I think that's one of the Antiquities Urza's Mine, and as we know, these Urza's Lions are a little bit obnoxious for all the different arts they can have.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe he's using different ones too.
Oh, that's even worse. Well, we'll find this eventually.
Yeah, we'll find if that's a mine or a power plant.
I think that was a mine, but it was joined by what looked like a power plant.
I believe so. I think that it should be a game loss if you don't use the same arts for your Tron lands.
Yeah, you know, Eric Froelich had that opinion after watching another camera match.
It's just really, like, it's revealed information that you're intentionally using to be deceptive, which is just, I don't know, it's kind of gaming your opponent in a way that I think is unreasonable.
Well, I think there's some merit to having like different arts, like my Hymn to Torox or High Tides. I would like to do that.
Yeah, the thing is it doesn't matter. Like, you can tell it's one of a Hymn to Torok. It's not going to be the other Hymn to Torok or the third Hymn to Torok.
Yeah.
It doesn't do a different thing.
This is kind of annoying.
It's very important that you know which lands they have.
And it looks like Tron is not quite yet online, but that was a prismatic prism.
Yeah, I believe he's missing a tower. I believe he's got 2 mines, or maybe it's 2 power plants. I'm not sure. I believe that's prismatic lens.
Lens.
Yeah. It just taps for a colorless, or for 1 mana you can filter. It does the same thing Shimmering Grotto does.
Yeah, Shimmering Grotto and the other land that he has, the
Unknown Shores, yeah. That's the one.
They don't go away. Prismatic Lens doesn't go away. The other chromatic effects, they go away, but they cycle either on resolution or on a triggered ability. So that's pretty useful. And the Tron land usually gets plenty of colorless mana at some point.
Absolutely.
But needs to cast its colored spells.
Yeah, it's really important. The thing is all of the spells in the Rug Tron deck that cost colored mana are usually just 1 colored mana. So having one of these prismatic lenses or one of these prismatic, what's the other one? The other prismatic card that he's got in play.
Lens and Prism.
Prism,
Prophetic Prism.
Prophetic Prism, that's right. So as long as you got one of those in play, it's usually pretty easy to cast your stuff.
Yeah. Looks like a Phyrexian Rager hits the battlefield for Brad. It's 2/2 and has a come-in play ability. Draw a card, but since it's black, obviously you have to lose a lot.
Yeah. John, however, is going to outclass that with a Flying 2 that draws 2 cards instead of 1.
And doesn't take life loss.
Yeah, Big Daddy Drifter over here hanging out, flying down from his elemental perch. And, you know, both these players have pretty full hands, and I just feel as the game progresses, John's cards just outclass just a little bit more.
Okay, so it sounds like this is favorable for the Tron deck. What's your strategy if you're Brad Foster to try to get back in this Unearth?
So, yeah, I think value. You just need to make sure you card advantage him out. So he traded one of his creatures for... he traded his Rager for John's Muldrifter and then unearthed his Rager, so he got to draw an extra card. So now he's even with John in that trade.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the best. Looks like Rats is going to come down, undraw John for 1. John's going to put Muldrifter on top of his library and then immediately redraw it.
Oh, wow. That's
and
so
cast.
That was off of the Haunted Fengraf, right?
Where do you see that?
For John, like he put a Muldrifter on top of his library?
Oh, no. He got Chittering Rats and put a Muldrifter from his hand on top
okay.
of his library. Yeah, these guys are playing real fast. It's really hard to keep up.
Yeah, these guys are very experienced with their top 8 decks. Certainly have to be. They're no strangers to the top 8. And here we have Chittering Rats. Followed up with a. Ooh, what is that?
I believe that's a Chainer's Edict. That is a promo version.
Oh, okay. Chainer's Edict, a sorcery speed diabolic edict, causes your opponent, target player to sacrifice a creature. Has a pretty hefty flashback cost, which can often get to that board state in such a grindy matchup.
Looks like Kumbaj Witch is going to join the board for Brad. Pretty slow clock, but at least it is a clock.
Yeah, Kumbaj Witches, pretty expensive for a popper card, a common, but has this very nice ability to just ping things. And when a lot of your own creatures have 2 toughness, its symmetric effect is a little bit more pleasant.
Absolutely. And also, it's pretty cool because a lot of people play Seagate Oracles, so you can attack pretty safely into those Seagate Oracles and offer the trade if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is then you lose your 2/2, but sometimes you're okay with that. Looks like these guys are in the tank right quick.
Yeah,
Brad's hand is just loaded with removal spells. He's got 2 more copies of Chainer's Edict. Those are not the promo version, though.
No.
Flavor
Even
fail.
with this very glared out card for John Barbarous, or should we go send a spotter?
I don't know what that is.
Let's get a good look.
All right, sounds good. Looks like Sean's going to take a quick peek at the board state, figure out what that glared out card is that we can't tell what it is on the right side of John's board. I want to say that it's a creature, but I literally have no idea, so we'll see. Got a little bit of glare there. Looks like we're going to pull that card up.
And that is a chromatic star. For those of you unfamiliar with it, let's get a nice look here. There's 2 chromatic effects in this deck. They do very similar things, except chromatic star triggers, the draw card triggers whenever it's put in the graveyard, whereas the sphere triggers on the resolution.
Yeah, it's actually not a triggered ability at all. It's just part of the effect.
Yeah, no, sorry. It draws upon resolution.
Yeah, the cool thing about Chromatic Star is if you sack this to a Shrapnel Blast, or if it dies to a Shatter effect, you still get to draw a card.
Yeah. Not relevant in Pauper, however, Chromatic Sphere cannot get stifled with the mana ability, whereas this can get stifled.
Absolutely. So it looks like Brad's going to drop a Phyrexian Rager, draw a card, going to party hard, come down with a Chainer's Edict. John's going to put that Muldrifter in the bin, and it looks like we got 5 coming in hot.
Yeah.
Put John down to 11.
Now, this is a board state where Brad can win. I don't think this is a particularly favorable matchup for him, but we do have some options.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I don't think any of the bad matchups or good matchups in Pauper are close to the bad matchups or good matchups that you get in Modern, where sometimes it can be, 60, 75%. You can start getting these really high numbers, whereas I think in this format they're much, much closer. Like it's, 60, 40, 65, 35, things like that.
Yeah. Certainly, and neither of these decks have too many cantrips. I mean, John does have Ponder. It's probably no Brainstorms, but you don't have very many shuffle effects.
It's a little bit harder to use Brainstorm. You have to have the right deck for it. I think if you're playing the Thought Scour, Mental Note, Blue-Black, Delver deck, it's great, but that's because the deck has, 10 ways. So looks like John activated his map there, found himself a copy of Tower.
He's got more mana than he knows what to do with.
Yeah, he's got so many things that produce mana. He's got a bunch of things that produce multiple mana, and then a bunch of things that produce 0 mana but filter.
Yeah, and the filters are actually much more valuable.
Going upstairs?
Right,
yeah, Rolling Thunder.
Thunder.
Oh, it's not going upstairs. So that red X splits X damage divided however you choose among any number of targets, which is going to be Brad's entire board. Looks like no leftover damage is going to get through here either.
Yeah. Fortunately, he might be able to turn on some of his unearths, but he would also need to draw that. A good start is to unearth into that Phyrexian Rager, but he's going to need to recover from that blowout.
Absolutely. And you know what? Brad actually, I think he had lethal that last turn because he had a Grey Merchant in hand. So if that Rolling Thunder had not happened.
Okay.
Looks like we're going to see an Anglefish coming down, really shooting the corner. We got a 5/5 Fisherman.
And interestingly, Brad paid nearly full retail on that Grimman Giggler. He still wants some of his creatures in his graveyard because of cards like Unearth.
Yeah, I think you also, if you're not really doing anything with your mana, you may as well spend it on a Delve spell, because if you draw Delve spells as the game progresses, that'll give you more fuel for it later.
Makes a lot of sense.
And the only spell that he's got in his hand, he's got a Disfigure and a Guess Verdict, which, I mean, I don't think he needs to play. Like, I don't think he needs to leave up mana for that.
I agree. And John doesn't play any taxing effect. That's not what Tron's about.
Yeah. Tron is trying to go over the top. Looks like John's going to figure out what he's going to cast right meow. Looks like it's another lens, so Taster colorless or 1 tap, add 1 mana of any color. Let's see where he goes from here. Looks like he's going to tap one of the 2 mana producing cards of the Tron pieces in that Prismatic
Seagate Oracle.
God, I always forget the name of that card. Yeah, Seagate Oracle. Gonna take a quick peek at the top 2 cards. John's gonna put one in hand and the other one on the bottom. Looks like he finds a copy of Urza's Tower, so he's got a ton of mana at his disposal.
Yeah. Too bad he can't cast Emrakul or something here.
Yeah, he's probably kicking himself for not holding onto that Rolling Thunder one more turn and be able to just go upstairs with it.
Yeah.
But he would have died if he had done that, so.
Yeah. And here it looks like a Fangren Marauder.
Yeah, pretty much a staple of this deck. When, people first looked at this format and they're like, oh, you can play Tron. What are the greatest big scary monsters you can play? And it turns out that the deterministic answer is Fangren Marauder. Because not only is it a huge scary body, it also just gains you a ton of life.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't have any artifacts quite yet to turn on the life gain if he needs to.
Well, he's got one Chromatic Star, right? The one glared out card is still a Chromatic Star. It has not actually moved since you went and checked on it, so
Okay.
I've been keeping an eye on the card that looks like a morph.
Thank you, appreciate that. So look, this Marauder is going to be able to tangle with that Grim Egg Angler. It looks like John is firmly in control now.
Looks like the trade
Brad's
is
gonna
being
offer
offered.
the trade, and he chumps instead, which I kind of like.
I think John needs to turn the corner and he realized that. We've got a Chainer's Edict coming down, and John is probably like, oh man, I'm losing my Fangren Marauder here, aren't I? There it is. Second sack effect. Oh, looks like John's going to respond. He's going to crack his Chromatic Star, gain 5 life, go to 16, draw a card, probably not a Dispel. And it looks like Marauder is hitting the bin, so Guess Verdict going to take care of that.
Guess Verdict, instant speed Diabolic Edict, as was the original Diabolic Edict. It's a little bit more restricted in the mana cost, but you get the 1 life out of it.
Yeah, the 1 life is very rarely relevant, but this deck is mono black. There's not really a cost of playing this card over a Diabolic Edict.
In fact, if you could change it into a permanent, it would turn on to motion a little bit better.
Yeah, if that was physically possible, I agree.
Yeah, someday they're going to print a card, obviously at the common rarity, so that you play it in Pauper. It's going to mess up all kinds of permanents and rewrite the rule.
It changes card types, it turns spells into creatures. There's 2 more copies of Fangren Marauder in John's hand.
Oh wow, that's going to pull him pretty far ahead.
Yes. No way to deal with multiple cards, no Maelstrom Pulse in this format. Echoing Decay is pretty much as close as it gets, which is basically a disfigure that Maelstrom Pulses.
Oh yeah, another prismatic Think Star.
And the second copy coming down. Brad's going to end step disfigure the Muldrifter, get that off the table.
We'll swamp off the top. Brad needs to just build up for enough reach. I think Oubliette would help him at least get rid of some of the cards clogging up the board and turn on Devotion, because he needs some runners in order to get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the problems that the mono black deck has is that when you get behind, it can be a little tough to come back out because none of your spells are really that powerful. Like, there's a lot of 1-for-1 removal spells and a lot of Phyrexian Ragers and Chittering Rats, which, they generate, one piece of advantage here, one piece of advantage there. But if your opponent's playing Think Twice or Fangren Marauder or Muldrifter, you just get behind so quickly because each of their cards is so much more dense than yours.
Yeah. And Brad's going to try to offer up a trade again with that Grim Egg Angler. John's going to take it on the chin.
John's not too worried. He's at effectively 20 with that Chromatic Star in play. As it is sacked as part of the cost, so even if he sacks and then the Fangren Marauder is killed, he's still going to get the trigger.
Yep. It's triggered ability, and you can't really effectively counter those in Pauper.
Yep.
No need to play around that.
John's going to skip through his deck 1 more time, 2 more times.
Jeez.
He's drawing all of his prismatic lens. There we go. Finally got it. Finally got the name of that card. Let's see where he goes from here. He's going to crack a star. No, he's going to crack a sphere, sorry.
He's going to float some mana. It looks like he's going to reach for those indicators. And he's got a blue floating.
Reach for the stars. Gain 10 life, go to 20.
And I think he passed the test. He just needed to really remember his Fangren Marauder triggers, and he would have just put this game out of reach.
I think all he needed to do was just not permanently phase out his Fangren Marauders, and then I think he's good. He might have lost if that happened. But I don't think John can lose from this board state. He's just so far ahead. Look at how much mana he has. Like, he draws a Rolling Thunder, and the game's just over. Not a lot of decks have that, where they can just hit a card, and then you're dead.
Another chromatic artifact bites the dust, and that's going to be 10 more life for John.
Yeah,
He's
Ponder found.
Turned on Sura Ascendant.
Yes. His life is 10 more than his starting life total. And he's going to fire off a Ponder here. Going to take a quick peek at the top 3. He likes what he sees. I believe he found a sphere, so he wanted to just gain 10 life and draw a card, it looks like. I'm pretty sure the other 2 cards he found were lands, so he really aggressively wants that life. see what he's going to do here. Looks like he is... I'm not sure what he's doing. Looks like he's pulling all the creatures out of his graveyard.
And there's some kind of delve card that I don't believe he runs, but Hopper, however, is an eternal format, which means...
He's activating Haunted Fengraph. Of course, he's randomly choosing one of the creatures in his graveyard. Let's see where they go from here.
Now, are there any cards in Pauper that care about graveyard order? It is an internal format, so...
Yes, there is, actually.
Okay.
Death Spark comes to mind as the only played one. I believe there are more.
So technically, they should have actually kept this in order, which is really annoying to randomize.
I think these guys are going to agree that it's okay, because I'm fairly certain you're allowed to rearrange your graveyard order as long as you ask your opponent for it and you have no way to abuse it.
Okay.
Not 100%
I'm
sure.
not aware of that,
Yeah.
but it would be really great if we could get a judge on camera. Oh, no, nothing particularly important. We just had a Haunted Fengraph activation, and we're wondering if you're actually allowed to rearrange the graveyard in Pauper.
Yeah, it
Don't
is
worry
an
about
eternal format. I'm not worried about it. Looks like our judges, though. He's really all about tournament integrity. That's kind of his job. So.
This is on camera. This is
bunch of
that's
savages
for
over here.
posterity, and we just have people messing up the graveyard order like a bunch of modern hooligans.
Yeah, look at this. John looks like he doesn't care too much about his graveyard order, and I don't think that that's going to be escalated to anything. Pretty sure it's not a game loss or anything. We got a Drifter coming back down, drawing 2 cards, and see, Brett Foster's just getting drowned in card advantage. He's drawing 1 card a turn, and John is drawing like 4. So here's a Ponder. Is this the same turn? This turn's been going on for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think Brad's just hoping John accidentally decks himself.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Because if he decks himself, it means he draws another copy of Rolling Earthquake. Or Rolling Thunder. Which is really all he needs to hit to win. There's 2 copies, 1 left, so.
Are there anything cards in black that get out of it? Like Living Death is usually like the de facto answer, but that doesn't even go here.
Yeah, not legal here, sadly. Corrupt, that's kind of the dream, and this game is way outside the range of Corrupt, so that's not going to work.
Maybe some Mararis in there too?
Yeah. Copied that a couple times. Looks like we got 2 Fangren Marauders turning sideways, hitting Brad down to 5. Looks like he's not going to block either.
40 to 5 are the life totals, and it's going to cycle a Barrymore. Brad's going to play a land, fight the good fight. Here comes Grey Merchant. Devotion is currently 5.
Yeah, Gary's going to drain 5. 10-point life swing, but probably not.
Not good enough when you're up, when you're down 35 life.
I'm pretty sure that the way that they were doing it is not that they were just rolling and combining the dice total. I think there's a way to do it that you... I'm trying to think. I remember that there is a way you can roll 2d6s to randomly determine a card. But
For a 7, I think you have to distinguish the 2 dice and say one is like base 6, and then one is like, so it's like a 1 and a 6, and then you add the value, and then you take some modulus to. It's usually better just to go find a D8. We are at a card store.
Yeah.
And if you guys are ever in the Ballard area, Card Kingdom in Ballard, it's a really sweet store. Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's some modulo math you can use. I know modulo math, but I'm not an expert at probabilities, so can't figure it out. Sorry, guys. Somebody knows. Dryo knows. Whoa, uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not do that. No one saw me do it.
I'll blame you anyways.
Second time I've had to say that on camera today. Oh my god! All right. So here we have Grey Merchant booming on the battlefield, as well as this speaker clip. Brad.
How is this game still going? Looks like we got another Fengraph activation.
Well, when you're activating Fengraph activation, you gotta just take your sweet time.
God, there's so many Mold Drifters in there. All right, looks like we only got 6 this time. That makes it easier.
Yeah. 3. Boom, what do you got here?
Looks like a Mold
Mold
Drifter.
Drifter.
I'm pretty sure Mold Drifter's the win, and then all the other ones are okay. And Mold Drifter's just the best one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many cards John has drawn in one turn on average, but I'm curious to know what his average draw... Oh, there's a Rolling Thunder. Can he Rolling Thunder for 10 here? I believe the answer is yes, as he's got 2 towers in play.
You got 2 towers. That's 6 mana already by itself.
Of course, he also gets to turn his guy sideways. Mold Drifter at least gets in, so he only needs to do it for 8, so he needs to spend 10 mana total. He's got 10 mana in front of him, as well as 3 prismatic lenses that are untapped. 5/5's going to get blocked. Brad's going to go down to 8.
Mold Drifter Flyer. It's going to evade the ground forces of Brad. It's going to send, as you said, Brad down to 8. Rolling Thunder for 8 will do this.
Yeah, hopefully John's not going to slow roll it. Even though I think he wants to draw more cards, he needs to be careful to not draw his entire library. Here it comes.
Yep.
Rolling Thunder, just 1
for 8.
point, 1 target.
Boom, 8-point damage, you're dead. Let's go to game 2.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the sideboard, see what the players have to work with. This looked like it was pretty favorable for Tron game 1.
Yeah.
Looks like Mono Black Control is going to need to get a little bit more aggressive and disruptive in order to get there. So let's start with the Choking Sands.
Yeah, Brad's going to have a Choking Sands, which I think is the most important card in this sideboard for this matchup, as you can destroy a land. It's basically a Molten Rain that can't hit swamps, is what I would call it. Incredibly powerful, and then Duress can also be very good in this matchup. And none of the other things really matter too much. Yeah. If you have enough cards to board out, I could see bringing in that Pestilence just as a way to kind of end the game if you need to. I certainly do that when I'm playing Mono Black versus some of the more control-y decks.
Yeah, Pestilence is a board control element, but it's also a finisher.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting in that regard.
Against the low creatures decks, if they're not really playing sweepers and you can stick a guy for a while, you can just eventually, like, you activate it for X-1, where X is, like, you know, the toughness of your creatures every turn, and then finally when your opponent's at, like, 6 and you're at 8, you're like, all right, we're just going to machine gun now.
Okay. What about John? That looked like it was pretty good in his favor. He's got 2 circles of protection, not black. His opponent's on mono black.
Yeah.
What's he working with here?
So I'm going to guess that he's going to bring in Evankar's Justice. That's pretty good in this matchup. Deals 2 damage with buyback to all targets, all creatures and players.
Yeah, we saw John previously on camera, and then Evankar's Justice was very timely against Double Secrets and some other 1/1 flyers.
It is a sorcery, which, you know, some people don't know. Some people name John. That's what I heard, at least. But yeah, it can be really good as both the Phyrexian Rager and the Chittering Rats, which are basically the main creatures of the Mono Black control deck, are 2/2, so they're going to die to that.
Yeah.
Pulsar Marasa is also incredibly powerful. It gives you an opportunity to either get back a Tron piece that gets blown up by a Choking Sands, or it lets you get back a Muldrifter, which are both just insanely powerful, as well as giving you a little bit of life to deal with, so you're less worried about a Gary finishing you off.
Between Pulsar Marasa and the Haunted Fengraf, do you think Brad might be interested in the Nile Spell Bombs? Worst case scenario, he could cycle them.
I could see him bringing it in. I think he'd need slots for it, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to make the slots, because the deck is actually pretty well positioned in this matchup. Like, there's not a lot of cards that are very bad. I feel like Kumbaj Witches is probably the worst card in the deck in this matchup, and even then, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably not where you want to be, though.
Yeah.
Kumbaj Witches, this wall of text, very elegant, concise explanation, as only cards from Arabian Nights can.
As only cards that are
their intent.
Yeah, pre-alliances probably. Pre-Weatherlight.
Alliance is pretty messy too.
Yeah, pre-Weatherlight. I'll go with anything pre-Weatherlight, probably written terribly.
I remember opening a Cold Storage as my rare from Tempest.
Oh,
and
man.
Tempest I started thinking as modern. That's when I joined, and that's when the card printing had actually gotten a little bit better. But, I mean, how are you going to even make sense of this with today's world? Put a target creature on Cold Storage.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's just an enchantment, right?
I don't know.
You just enchant Cold Storage with the creature?
I sacrificed it for 10 cents at the local card store.
Oh, nice. You sacrificed it. Chopped it off, tried to buy another booster pack, did not make enough to do so. Yeah, these guys going into game 2. John Barber is going to take a quick pile shuffle. While we're heading into game 2, John is, of course, up a game as he just cleaned out Brad's clock, that last one.
Ended the game at like 55 life. That's not bad start at all.
I mean, when your opponent rolling thunders and says you're dead.
Sure.
That card doesn't usually target players, and if it does, they're dead. It doesn't go wide. While these guys are shuffling, so yeah, a little curious as to what else they're boarding into in this matchup. I think my guesses are pretty on point, but you know, you never know. Sometimes players have a different take on the matchup than I do, and I'm not going to say my opinion is the best, as I did not top 8 and these guys did top 8, so they clearly have that on me. Yeah, while we're waiting, I'm going to take another quick look at their sideboard. I just want to see what's going on over there again one last time. Oh, it looks like they're presenting, so maybe I should not do so, as we are getting into the hands now. Quick cut. And a cut back. And of course, this is the top 8. This is the first round of top 8 for Rags and Riches for A New Hope, the Pauper tournament in Seattle, Washington. And John Barber in 3rd place is up a game versus Brad Foster in 6th place. Yeah, Dryalt, you have a good point talking about Death Denied, but I feel like if you're at the point where you can Death Denied for like 5 or 6, you're just going to be so far behind at that point that it's just not worth it, because you'd much rather make sure you curve out, maybe hit a choking sands early to stop him. Yeah, I think we pretty much have the same point. It's like almost good enough to be worthwhile. Looks like John's going to mulligan. Brad is going to keep his opening 7. I believe I saw Chittering Rats in there, and that's about it. I did not see anything else. Quick shuffle cut from Brad on John's deck while he's mulliganing to 6. John is up a game, but going to be down a card. Here's the 6. This hand looks very reasonable for John. Looks like he's going to find an expedition map. He's got 2 pieces of Tron in hand, so maybe he's going to leave that on top, as that'll find him number 3, and he'll have natural Tron on turn 3. Looks like Brad's just going to swamp go. Oh, you know what? That was not an expedition map. That was a Fangren Marauder. So looks like we got a Chromatic Star coming down on turn 1 for John.
Sign in Blood. It's going to take Brad down to 18, draw 2 cards.
Absolutely. John's going to draw, find himself another copy of Ponder. I believe he has one in hand already. Looks like he's going to start out with a Prophetic Prism. Or Prismatic Lens. He's going to use the mana that Prismatic Lens activates to activate his Chromatic Star, create a blue mana that way.
Wow, I've never actually seen I've never seen the Prismatic Lens tap for mana.
I mean, it can only tap for mana. It only has 2 abilities, and both of them are mana abilities.
I've never seen the first mana ability.
Can we get started?
We're here.
Because then you'll have this summer.
Yeah. Let's do that. So it looks like we got the other half of the top 8. They're going to start their match, and then we will get the winner of this versus the winner of the other half of the other quarter of the bracket. Sorry. But yeah, the other half of the table a little bit ahead of these guys, so we're just going to get them to start. Looks like we got Chittering Rats coming down. Going to undraw John 1 card. So this looks like we got this lens activation. Dropping a Ponder.
Okay, so you're going to tap it to filter. Look at the top 3 cards in the library. I don't think that's quite what he's in the market for, but there is an expedition map, so...
Yeah, I think he's got 2 towers in hand. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so he's not going to miss a land drop if he keeps this, so I guess I like it, and he gets a free shuffle effect next turn.
Yeah.
Firebolt is... and an Evan Cruz Justice, I believe, are the cards over there. So a little bit too mana intensive for right now, but...
Yeah, Evan Carr's Justice is great, probably about 4 or 5 turns from now. It looks like John is going to keep it. And tower coming down. 2 different towers in play. It's always brutal for me. Looks like we got Chittering Rats turn this sideways, getting 2 damage in. And a Phyrexian Ranger is going to come down. Brad's going to party just a little bit while he draws an extra card. And it looks like a Bajuka Bog is going to exile John's graveyard. Nothing important in there, though.
Nope, no creatures to be had. And the Firebolt was even on top of his library.
Yeah, I think he wanted the Firebolt. Yeah, I think he wanted the Firebolt. But I think now that he's seeing a Phyrexian Ranger, maybe he doesn't want the Firebolt and he wants the that copy of Evan Carr's Justice.
Yeah, and that will be on the bottom. So he's actually stuck between a rock and a hard place because he needs to shuffle his Evan Carr's Justice away in order to get Tron online. But I think it's more important for him to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a little, I actually would have played the map last turn and then Upkeep activated it, so I did not draw either copy. I don't think Firebolt is too relevant here either.
I think I would have liked that, and Mono Black is not known for its ways to deal with artifacts.
Yeah, in fact, Mono Black is specifically known for not having an answer, besides Gate to Phyrexia, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that's the card we're looking for.
Yeah, you just searched for Phyrexia, and there was like 60-something results, so... Yeah, here's the only way Black has to deal with it, which you sacrifice, is it 1 or 2 of your creatures, and it's only during your upkeep.
Importantly, you may not sacrifice a creature that is already on its way to the graveyard.
Yeah, I'm not really sure rules-wise how you can do that. So, if they lightning bolt one of your creatures, can you sacrifice it in response, or is that already on the way to the graveyard?
Well, I mean, if it has damage and the state-based effect would put it on its way to the graveyard, you can't sacrifice that because that's just nonsense. Unless there's a Tinder Wall going on with a Chain Lightning, then you can actually sacrifice Tinder Wall to bounce. Magic is crazy.
Magic is complicated, and very specific situations involved in very complicated cards. Magic is a very sensible game, except for the corner cases, in which the rules get really, really convoluted really, really quickly.
Looks like Brad serves in for 4, and John's going to take it, drop him down to 14. He does have Tron online, so let's see if he's got enough payoff cards.
We got Gary coming down. That's going to be a 5-point swing, or 10-point swing, 5 each way.
Yeah. Grey Merchant with a devotion of 5 does drain for 5, and this is a good opening for Brad to play that before any removal spells, such as Evan Curtis Justice, go online for John.
Absolutely.
But I think he really needs a choking stance in order to take this game.
Yeah, you know, Brad's in pretty bad shape already. Just the fact that John is starting to stabilize. He's got Tron online. Here's a Fangren Marauder. That's going to block real hard.
Yeah.
And any artifact like the one that he just played that's going to sack to draw a card is going to be a 5-point life swing. Pretty savage. John's coming back into this game.
Well, let's see. So he needs either choking stance, or I just prefer it's probably Gary up top.
Yeah. I mean, Gary's really the dream at this point. You just want to cast Grey Merchant. What's really awkward is sometimes you have early on, like if you're on the draw and you cast Sign in Blood on turn 2, and then you have like 3 lands total in your hand and in play, and then you really want to discard the Grey Merchant, but you know in 5 or 6 turns you're really going to want it. It can be tough to decide. Looks like he's in,
Go
left.
after the Rager, interesting. I would like going after Chittering Rats because it turns on Devotion a little bit more.
I like going after the Rager because I care less about my opponent unearthing the Rager than I do about my opponent unearthing the Chittering Rats.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
I think that individual cards in John's deck are much more powerful than individual cards in Brad's deck. They just cost more mana. So any card that can trade 1 for 1 is pretty good for Brad and pretty bad for John.
All right. Well, here's time to get some value. There's a Firebolt in the graveyard and a Nihil Spellbomb in Brad's hand. Time to go to Valley Town, or
Yeah,
maybe not quite?
I imagine he's going to activate it. It's pretty slow, though. Looks like we're going to start out with an Unearth, get that Rager back into play. This is probably exactly what John was thinking of when he was deciding which one to kill. Brad's going to draw a Chainer's Edict, so does have a removal spell that can deal with the Fangren Marauder easily. But it looks like he's going to use a Victim of Night to kill the Fangren Marauder, saving his... Oh, he's going to use a Chainer's Edict on Muldrifter now.
So now he's managed to clear out the board, and if he can get another turn and maybe a fortunate top deck, he might actually be back in this game.
Yeah, you know, I think he's riding a line very, very close. The problem is John has a hand of Fangren Marauder, Muldrifter, which is pretty good.
Yeah. He's going to need to eventually draw 2 more lands to get that Fangren Marauder out of play, and then he's also got a Prismatic Star in order to gain 5. Oh,
Absolutely.
and the Expedition map that we forgot about, or at least I forgot about it.
Yeah, one of the 2 expedition maps. There's a second copy.
Okay.
So I imagine this is going to be on a tower. There it is. He's got access to another tower. He's got 5 mana here, but it's colorless, so he's not going to be able to cast the Muldrifter. Which means that a sacrifice effect from Brad is going to be able to get rid of that Fangren Marauder, and that's pretty much how you don't want this game to play out for Tron, or as Tron. As Tron, you do not want to trade your Fangren Marauder with sacrifice effects. You want to be trading Muldrifters and stuff.
Yeah.
Tower in hand. Let's see where John goes. He's connecting with that Urza's Tower, getting mana from it. Tapping the Mine. That's 2 mana.
2 mana.
Oh, you know what? He's got
a Star or an Expedition map.
Looks like Star coming down. And he does have 1 colorless mana floating right now. However, he's 1 off from filtering a colored mana off of that Chromatic Star and casting Muldrifter this turn. But he's going to draw. So if he draws a Simian Spirit Guide, he's good. He did not, though.
Any value to the Woking right here? I knew he really wanted to play that Muldrifter in order to make sure that he gets a sacrifice outlet that's not the Marauder, but it looks like he's pretty far ahead in this board state.
Yeah, you know, I would have actually casted the Muldrifter instead of the Marauder, rather than the way he did it.
Okay.
Just I think that card draw is a little bit... Card draw is better earlier on in the decision process because you get to see more lines, see more options.
Yeah.
It looks like John has a different take on it. Looks like he's going to fire off a Tendrils of Corruption. That's going to get that Fangren Marauder off the table, as well as gaining him 5 or 6 life.
Hey, look, he's going to respond by cracking Expedition map,
Yeah.
gain 5 life instead.
Good choice.
Now these guys look like they've been battling for quite a while. They're at 26 and 25 respectively. That was a drain for... Oh, because the Fangren Marauder has 5 toughness, he only gains 5 life, right?
No, it deals X damage to target creature and you gain X life for X the number of swamps you control.
Was he at 21 previously?
I don't think so. I don't know if they've updated life totals yet. I think he's about to. Oh, maybe they have.
In any
not
case,
sure.
I don't think his life total is going to affect the board too much, and he's going to send in for 5,
6.
7, 6.
2-4, 2-2, and 2-2 are the bodies in play.
And then here we have a follow-up Duress, target you.
Fail to find, though.
Is that a...
I believe that is the Unexplored Shores. What is it? Unknown Shores, yeah, that sounds
Unknown
right.
Shores.
As well as a Mole Drifter and I can't remember what the
I'm
other card
wondering,
was.
do I see I thought I saw a Haunted Fengraf.
Oh yeah, that's what the third card was Haunted Fengraf.
And that's going to induce Brad to play that Nihil Spellbomb. Unfortunately, because he tapped out for the Duress, which whiffed, he's not going to be able to cycle it, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Another problem is John can just play the Haunted Fengraf and just leave it up, and if Brad ever activates the Bajuka Bog, or activates the Nihil Spellbomb, John can respond by the Haunted Fengraffing. Brad's going to draw. It's a Phyrexian Rager. He's trying to party.
Let's get in a little bit more aggressively, I think. It's one of the few paths to get back in this game.
Yeah. I think the only play that Mono Black can make that is actually aggressive is Sign and Blooding the opponent.
That is quite aggressive. And that's why you play it over something instead of
Night's Whisper. Yeah. Normally, Sign and Blood is pretty much a strict downgrade as it's double black. However, this is a mono black deck. It doesn't really care.
And once we got that common permanent that will change all instant sorceries to increase your devotion, then we're set.
Yeah, strict upgrade.
Grimhack Angler.
Yeah, big fish. In hand for Brad. He's going to figure out if he can cast it right now or not. Looks like he's going to swing for 6 first before anything else. John can trade this Mole Drifter with a 2/2 if he wants to. It looks like he's not going to.
And I like attacking first, give John a little bit less information and inform his blocks, as well as if he blocks, you have the option of delving away one of your creature to the Angler.
Yeah, absolutely. Rager coming down.
And notice Brad hit his 7th land. He does have the option of firing out that Chainer's Edict now, so
Looks like he's just going to cast a Gurmag Angler, though.
yeah, well, he wants to hold up that black mana so that he can activate the Nihil Spellbomb if necessary.
I feel like if you want to respond to your opponent's like graveyard recursion stuff, it's just better to do it now than to wait and just not ever give them the opportunity. As Haunted Fengraf, playing a land is a special action. It does not use the stack and cannot be responded to.
Agreed.
Shake my hand, Sean.
We got a knucklehead crashing the party right here. A security, can we get this guy out? All right. All right. Peace is restored here in the booth at Card Kingdom.
The kingdom is safe. John's going to draw, finds himself a Ponder.
It's a good card.
Yeah, one of the best top decks in the game, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I
That's-
prefer Ancestral Recall, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Treasure
Thing
Cruise.
is if all 3 of the cards are bad, Ponder's actually better than Ancestor Recall.
Did we ever have a Pauper tournament? We didn't have one where Treasure Cruise was legal, right?
No, Treasure Cruise, I believe, was banned immediately. I don't even think it was ever legal in Pauper. Yeah, well, no, I don't think it was ever legal in Pauper. I think it was banned when it came out. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that seems pretty good.
I would not be surprised. That card is a little bit outside of the outside of the range of playable cards.
Gems Legos, unfortunately, I don't think we have the ability to move the camera with our current setup. We're looking for ways to upgrade our video quality in the future, but currently we're unable to do so. I apologize. We're gonna have to work a little bit better on the descriptive commentating and a chromatic star.
I believe that's a star. It might be a sphere.
I think it's a sphere.
We'll see it when it moves. I imagine he's going to crack it after this Haunted or this, sorry, I always forget the name of that guy.
That is a Fengraf Marauder.
Fengraf Marauder. Is that right? No, that doesn't sound right.
Fangren.
Fangren Marauder, yeah.
Man, they just made up words here at R&D and just...
I mean, they're pretty good at it. Oh, was Treasure Cruise legal? I stand corrected. I had just assumed it was banned before it even came out. I assumed they had, like, the memory jar interaction.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, we made a mistake.
You know, people were actually skeptical about the power of Treasure Cruise in Eternal formats for a while when it came out, and then it just took over
Those people were dumb.
every single format,
Yep.
standard to vintage.
Yep, every single one. It's been restricted or banned. One of those cards has been restricted or banned in every single format besides standard, which I think is kind of funny.
Do you remember Blue Red Delver was the best deck in Pauper, Vintage, Legacy, and Modern?
Yes, I do. I don't know if it was the best deck in Modern. I think Birthing Pod was better just because those were the 2 best decks, and Birthing Pod smashed Delver.
Oh yeah, I was quite good in that matchup.
Treasure Cruise certainly gave Delver an option to come back, but I don't know if it was enough.
So John's gonna film up the board a little bit. Seagate Oracle, Fangren Marauder, and Mole Drifter are now tangling and able to do battle with these 2 Phyrexian Ragers, a Gary, Chittering Rats, and a Grimag Angler.
Yep.
Brad picks up his draw for the turn. What is that? That choke. That's
He's got a Choking Sands and another copy of Chittering Rat, so I believe he's got 6 mana this turn, so he can fire off both if he wants to. I don't think he can knock John out of Tron. Maybe he can, actually. Yeah, I think he can. He's got 3 towers in play. Oh, wait, is that a mine behind the tower? Yeah, that's a mine behind the tower, yeah. He's going to ask Brad, Brad's going to ask John, he's like, hey, can you separate those Tron pieces out to, like, the piles of stuff that they are? Because this is a nightmare. Oh, maybe that is a tower. Wait, does...
3 towers, 2 mines, and is that a...
I think it's a power plant in a mine, so he's got 2 one-ofs, as well as, I believe that's a mine in hand. So if Brad goes after the power plant with that Choking Sands, he's in great shape.
Well, you know, Brad did whiff on that duress, but I think he got some information there. He may still remember what was going on. And Chittering Rat's going to cause John to put a card back to his library. What he really needs here is not Choking Sands. He needs
Foul to Dust.
Oh, yeah, that
card's
works
not
too.
legal in this format, but that's what he really needs.
No, I was thinking the ice was Thunder Growth, or that puts
Stunted
from hand,
Growth,
right?
yeah, put 2 cards from target player's hand. Plow Under, put 2
Plow
lands.
Under, yes.
Plow
That's what
Under,
he needs.
Yeah. Plow Under is put 2 lands on top of their owner's library. Pretty powerful effect for 5 mana. Real fun to play against in Cube if you play it on turn 2.
Yeah.
As somebody who's done that multiple times, it feels
Especially
quite
if
good.
they're playing, I don't know, bounce lands.
Yeah. Brad's going to send the turn back to John and see where we go from here.
I just want to say one time in June, Zach Autonomous stunted growth and plow under me in the same turn and I got defeated.
Oh, that's how you lose friends right there.
Zach Autonomous wants Scroll Rack in response to my Mind Quiz for 6, put a Wheel of Fortune on top of his library, and then cast Nicol Bolas the same turn. I was upset.
Sounds like you got wrecked, Sean.
I did.
Nice mind twist. Let's both have 7. John's going to draw. So he's got 2 Tron pieces in hand. Let's see if he's got Tron right now. I just can't tell. There's so many different lands in play that are all different Tron lands.
Blair's looks like it's subsiding a little bit. We have this thing in Seattle called Lack of Sunshine, but it's May right now, so we're actually getting
Quite a bit, yeah.
quite a bit. Maybe later at night or some other time of the year, we'll be able to see their cards in their full glory.
Yeah. Full unsheened glory.
But don't let that be a reason not to come visit Seattle for the wonderful Magic the Gathering scenes, led by Card Kingdom and Mox Boarding House.
Yeah, the only reason to come to Seattle, in fact. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of reasons to come to Seattle. And anyways, you can buy singles online from Card Kingdom anyways with the new coupon code, CKStream. What is it, 5% off?
5% off your order of $25 or more in singles and or foils. They don't count as singles in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's explicitly stated in the advertisement.
just to prove your point. Agreed.
Seagate Oracle is going to hit the battlefield, allow John to look at the top 2 cards of his library, and what's he in the market for here?
I think he's just digging at this point. Any card he hits that can attack Brad is probably good. Attack or block. He just needs creatures.
Rolling Thunder, wipe out your whole board.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely get behind that too. All right, there's like a ton of cards that John could find. Like the way the Tron decks work is they've got a critical mass of payoff cards, a critical mass of cards to help them get Tron, and then they have Tron, and that's the whole deck.
Would you say he's reached this critical mass on both ends?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's also done some critical math to figure out exactly how much mana each turn he can make.
Oh yeah, true. Especially randomizing creatures with that
Where do you see
haunted
it?
Fengraf.
Yeah,
The Fengraf and Fangren are just very obnoxious when you're trying to do commentary.
Yeah, but they're very different places. It's important to know that one is on Innistrad and one is on Mirrodin.
You know, I did not know either of those things.
Really?
Yes.
How did you not know that Fangren Marauder, that whenever an artifact dies, you gain 5 life? How does that not sound like a Mirrodin effect?
I mean, I might confuse with Femeref for all I know.
Okay.
Femeref Enchantress, Femeref, a lot of Femerefs in fact.
Yeah, is that Arabian Nights or is that
That's Mirage Block, I think.
Mirage? Yeah.
Femeref Enchantress right here is a pretty sweet card.
Nice. Yeah, Visions. Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course the Haunted Fengraf is from Innistrad because Fengraf sounds like Grafdiggers,
Okay.
and Haunted is something
You
that
know what
happens
else?
on Innistrad.
Fangraph sounds like? Sounds like Fangren.
Yeah, maybe not. Looks like we got the Fengraf activation, and Brad's gonna activate his Nile Spellbomb in response.
Boom.
And you know what? John's gonna gain 5 life because you don't have to control the artifact that dies.
Oh, wow. I missed that interaction.
Yeah,
Got him.
this is what happens on Mirrodin. Things were symmetrical back then.
That is true.
John's gonna deploy his land for the turn, and it looks like the bird, the bull drifter, the flying fish is coming in for
That's
2.
Is that a fairy? Or
No, it's an elemental.
Oh, wow.
All-
I believe you're right.
I am 100% sure I'm right because Evoke was exclusively an elemental ability.
100% declared.
Yes. Deterministically provable.
Okay. We can look that up. I'm not even going to bother.
Okay.
Cost bandwidth. All right, here we
Yeah.
go. We got a Chainer's Edict in hand. I think still one left in the graveyard, but maybe got delved away. I don't know what just happened. But ability to play 2 Chainer's Edicts across 2 different turns. He hasn't been drawing his Garys, which is rough.
That's really what he's looking for. Looks like we got a 5/5 coming in hot. John declares no blocks. No blocks declared. Chainer's Edict coming down. Sack this declared. And Brad's going to send the turn back to John with no cards in hand.
What odds would you give Brad to send this to a game 3?
I'm going to give him sub 20 here.
Okay.
That is not 0. It's not 0.
No,
But,
not 0 declared.
Yeah, not 0 has been declared. 1 is not 0. We all know that. Spam that in chat if you can. I don't have I'm not subscribed to whatever channel gives you the 1 is not 0 emote, but always jealous of people that are, 'cause it's a pretty sick emote.
I actually don't know what you're referring to, but I assume it's some premium Twitch feature.
So when you subscribe, you get access to their emotes, and that's somebody's emote says 1 is not 0, and that's the whole emote.
I understand you guys enjoy what you're talking about, but can you talk about Origins? Because that's what I know. Unfortunately, my knowledge of Origins extends to Dark Petition.
Yeah, that's not very original. It's pretty recent. Sean Yu exclusively knows cards in Legacy and Wild Mikado. That's it. Those are the only cards that Sean knows.
Wild Mikado is a Legacy powerhouse.
Staple of Legacy declared. Yeah, not a lot of Origins cards see play in Pauper. Not a lot of good commons in that set. Topan Freeblade, I think, was the best common. That is a 2/2 for 2 with Renown. Do you know what Renown does?
Oh yeah, there's that noble hierarch too that
Yeah.
has renown, right? But
That there
like,
is.
Isn't there like a Stoneforge as well?
Yeah, I think there is. There's also an Eidolon of the Great Revel that's one-sided.
Oh yeah, no. Caleb Durwood is actually playing it on VSL
Yeah,
this
it's
week.
it's pretty good. It's actually
Scab
pretty.
something or other.
Yeah, Scab Clan Berserker, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a friend of mine actually plays it in his burn decks, and like his more red-based decks, not necessarily straight up burn, but So John is using mainly colorless mana.
Yeah.
So the way that John's deck works is there's 3 cards from Antiquities and reprinted in 8th edition called the Urza's Lands. There's Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, and Urza's Power Plant.
Yeah, let's get a better picture of one of these.
Toss
And we're
one
going
on
to
cam.
show up not the sweet edition from Antiquities, maybe one of the newer ones to get an idea of what it actually does.
Yeah.
So here we have a 9th edition Urza's Tower. So it adds a colorless mana pool, but if you control an Urza's Mine and an Urza's Power Plant, you have 3 mana instead of 1 mana to your mana pool instead. Urza's Mine and Urza's Power Plant are worded similarly, except they only add 2 mana instead of 3 mana if you have all 3 pieces. And this is colloquially referred to as Tron. Assembling Tron means...
Urzatron. I'm not actually sure what that comes from.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's just a commonly used thing. So here's Urza's Mine, for instance. So this is like Urza's Tower, except that's 2 mana to your mana pool.
Yeah, and what's actually pretty interesting and a lot of people don't know is that you have to add 2 mana or 3 mana if you have Tron in play.
Okay.
Which doesn't matter now, but I was playing Tron way back in the old days of Extended when that was a
Oh,
format,
look at this guy.
and mana burn was a thing, and sometimes you wouldn't be able to do it.
You know what felt really bad? Mana burning off your Ancient Tomb.
Yeah.
I've had that happen quite a bit back in my
That's
days.
brutal. That is brutal. That's a lightning bolt. Unless you just have it for nothing. Yeah, Voltron makes sense, but I don't, it doesn't feel like a Voltron thing. Like, when I think of Voltron, I think of one card with a bunch of stuff suited up to it. Or, like, exalted
That's a
on one guy.
Transformers reference, right?
Voltron? I don't think so.
I don't know. I can't remember what it's from. But...
I think it's a Pokemon.
Oh, okay. I know
Maybe
there's
not, I
that
don't know.
Wu-Tang song where there's Wu-Tang track where they talk about assembling like Voltron and Jizza happens to be the head, or the RZA. I can't remember. But don't know the reference. But in any case, he does have Tron assembled.
Yeah, he has Tronified. Tron Barber over there on the right.
Oh, Gray Merchant right off the top.
Is that lethal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is Xaxes.
Wow! That is Lightning Helix for 10.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Gray
it's Gray Merchant.
Oh my god, Gary!
Man, I'm learning so much from chat today. I had no idea. Apparently it's a TV show or an anime?
Okay, that's pretty cool. And what's also cool is we're going to get a third game of this round top 8 match.
Yeah, so the other half is already figuring out the finalists, and we're still figuring out the top 8 on the other side. Not sure where Sean went. He just left me in the booth. Guess I'm all alone. These guys are shuffling up for game 3. Yep, pretty much that describes the idea behind Tron.
So while these guys are sideboarding, let's go figure out what happened on the other side of the bracket.
Okay. Do you got it all populated, all figured out?
I could get this populated fairly quickly, I hope. There is a bug I need to fix at some point, but
Okay.
here, let's drag this here,
Parse that WAR file.
and then drag this here.
Parse that results file. Let's see what
Let
happens.
it tank for a second.
I figured it out. Skipping around 5.
Okay. Unfortunately, it may have stopped at some point. Actually, here we go. I could fix this a little bit.
Alrighty then.
This is not the ideal time to do this, but
Yeah, I guess we're
get
just
some
gonna
information while this sideboarding is going on.
do a little bit of programming here while you guys can't see. Man, I have not looked at Python code in quite a while. I pretty much exclusively program in Java and C# with a bunch of front-end stuff. So Python is kind of a nightmare. Man, you got some complicated stuff going on in here. You got some lambdas? Jeez. Some array indexing with negative numbers and having methods in? Ugh. Standing sub-event, sub-P1, sub-elim, sub-W. Wow. All right. Well, that's okay, I guess.
All right, so here we go.
All right, we got it all figured out.
Still shuffling. Let's see what the top 8 looks like. So,
Did it get populated?
disappointingly, did not populate yet.
Okay, all right.
Let's
Try
again.
one last time.
Probably bugged out. Okay. There's too many tab. This is annoying.
Are those the tab symbols and not just spaces?
Yeah, these need to be spaces.
Wow, get wrecked.
All right, let's give this another try. Good old college try.
There it goes. That looked successful. Nope,
No,
just
it
kidding.
looked like it bugged again.
Okay. Alrighty then. Let's just not worry about it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be worrying about debugging the program while we're live that we are using to calculate all of our metagame breakdown and all that good stuff.
Yeah, certainly. See if the players are ready. And it looks like Brad is looking at his 7 and Scott. Healthy mix of lands and spells. Lands and spells, you always keep those, right?
Pretty much. Never mull. That's the team that I'm on. Very untrue. I mulliganed a lot today. I think I mulliganed way more than I should have with a 24 land deck.
Never mull unless it's mull drifting.
The only kind of mulligan worthwhile because you go up in cards.
There was a pretty sick interaction. We got Pig Trinket on camera. There was a Mull Drifter evoked, and then with the sacrifice trigger on the stack, cast Undying.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Undying Evil. Yep.
Undying Evil. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to play the blue-white Reality Acid deck.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things to do is evoke Mull Drifter in response Momentary Blink.
Oh, that's an interaction.
And all the evoke creatures from Lorwyn are have a pretty cool wording that the ones that come into play, because both are ETB effects, you can stack them however you choose and draw 2 cards, potentially draw Momentary Blink, and then Momentary Blink the Mull Drifter with a sacrifice on the
Yeah,
stack.
definitely. You could stack the triggers however you want, and good players will stack them quickly.
John's got excess 2 mana.
And that's the Holy Shores or whatever.
Unknown Shores, I
Unknown
believe.
Shores.
Yeah. And of course, Uponder coming down. He's going to filter through that Unknown Shores.
Yeah. And this is another Shimmering Grotto type effect for.
The art on this one is way cooler, though.
Yeah, let's see. He's got the one from Oath, I guess. Here we go. Unknown Shores.
Yeah. I like the other art more from Theros block, but, can't disagree. Looks like we got a Choking Sands coming down on one of the pieces of Urza. I believe that's Urza's Mine, so John is now behind a turn as well as behind a land.
Yeah, now he's going to be harder pressed to get Tron online. Brad does not have quite a bit of pressure yet, but that disruption of the Choking Sands helps a lot in this matchup.
Yeah, sometimes you mana screw your opponent and then they lose. That's why they don't really like printing mana effects, mana destruction effects.
I miss that aspect of the game. I could see how It's less fun for newer players, but then also adds just like a new access to the game that I think is really fun.
Yeah, I think it's an important axis to see. I think that getting blown out by unfair strategies is an important part of Magic, and I think that land destruction is an unfair strategy if applied
So
properly.
this duress is going to see 2 copies of the Fangren Marauder and some other cards that we can't quite distinguish.
I saw double Fangren Marauder. I believe I saw double Muldrifter. It did hit a Pulsar Marasa, which is pretty good. Right,
Yeah.
that's Pulsar Marasa?
I think that is a Pulsar Marauder. Let's go ahead and confirm the artwork. This gains you 5 life as well as return.
I think it's 6 life. Yeah, it's 6 life.
Oh wow.
Instant speed too, which I did not realize when I first saw that card.
Yeah, this was quite good in I think the Zoo deck on camera.
Yeah.
Domain Zoo at Rags and News 3. And Brad's immediately going to fire off that Nihil Spellbomb Cycle card, draw his 5th land. What's he got here? 5 lands does give him access to Gary. It's not quite as potent right now in this board state.
Yeah, it looks like we're just going to see an Angler.
Is going to help speed up that clock. And John's still stuck on 2 lands.
Yeah, draws another copy of Fangren Marauder. He's not going to be able to cast that. Is John... He's still got a land in hand, but it's a hunted... Oh, no, he's just going to discard. Oh, savage.
Yeah, this is looking all Brad right now.
Yeah.
Brad's going to be up to 6 life. He could cast Corrupt. I don't think he plays any, but...
I mean, I believe he plays Corrupt. I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't play Corrupt. Wow, he actually does not play any copies of
Because
Corrupt.
obviously it doesn't add to devotion until they get that permanent that I referred to.
Very true. So yeah, Brad is playing 2 copies of Tendrils of Corruption and 1 copy of Pestilence. I was playing 2 copies of Corrupt
He's
in
going
those.
to take this opportunity to play Grey Merchant. That's a swing of 3 life, or
6
3 life either way.
Yeah,
6
3 life
total.
both ways.
And put a 2/4 body on the board. And this is a 2-turn clock that
Yeah.
John is on.
John's at 10. He's very low. Sign Blood is lethal, just about. Not
Oh,
quite.
wow.
Not quite. It's only 9.
Risk it?
Risk it, yeah. That's an aggressive line. So let's see what John's going to do. He's still missing land drops. I think he's deciding what card to discard, and that's never a decision tree you want to have to make.
Nope.
Looks like Ulamog's Crusher
Ulamog's
hitting the
Crusher.
bin.
One of the few big Eldrazi's from the original block that actually does not shuffle when it triggers. I think actually maybe the legendary ones are the only ones that do that.
I think it's only the 3 at the top end that do.
Okay.
Emrakul, Ulamog,
Okay.
and Kozilek.
Well, here's Ponder. That's a pretty nice start. He's going to find another piece of that Urzatron, but he is at 3. Very slim on outs. He could make his land drop and then extend that hand if he keeps this, but I don't think he has any outs that he's drawing to.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to shuffle and hope to draw.
Terminus.
Yeah, maybe.
Ancestral into
I don't.
Lotus Petal.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a single card that gets him out of this hole. I don't think there's even one that exists that's not legal in this format.
Oh, yes. If you're going to be unfun and put restrictions on it, you have to be proper legal. Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, like, I don't even think.
Contract for below into Saharazad.
Yeah, if you just play Shahrazad here, maybe he has a chance. What does that do? When you lose half your life rounded up if you lose a sub game, is that right?
I believe it's, half your life. Maybe it was 10 life.
Is there a sub game where you gain like 100 life maybe if you win
Yeah.
a sub game?
And the handshake, Brad Foster is going to take this game in 3. So I'm going to send him into the quarterfinals match, and we're going to just go see what we have available now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go